week 14 of the fantasy basketball season, and your last chance to make some trades here if your trade deadline didn't pass, but it will pass in the next day or two. The first center I've looked to buy low or trade for this week is Isaiah Stewart of the Detroit Pistons. So Stewart here, he's a player that's been playing a decent role the last couple weeks here for this Piston team. Obviously, with the Pistons rebuilding and getting rid of some players here, like Blake Griffin, DeLon Wright. So they made a couple deals. They got rid of a few players, and Stewart, he's getting an opportunity now on the season. He's ranked 193 in fantasy basketball, 6.4 points a game, 5.7 rebounds, 67% from the foul line, and 57% field from the last couple weeks here since he's got an expanded role, 9.7 points a game, 5.1 rebounds, 75% from the foul line, and 58% from the field for Isaiah Stewart. So Stewart here, he's a throwback center. He's not going to shoot threes, and he's a big body down low that could get rebound and could block shots at 1 per game so far this season. And now his minutes per game, they've gone up to about the 22 to 30 minute mark. And the last 3 games for Stewart, they've been pretty decent. March 27th at Washington, 11 points, 8 rebounds. He did add a 3 with an assist and a block. March 29th versus Toronto, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a 3. And then last night versus Portland, 6 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, a block, and 2 threes. So Stewart, he's starting to shoot 3-pointers, and he's got 4 now in his last 3 games. And that's pretty good for a traditional center who's going to rebound and block shots. So Stewart, he's a guy you could definitely get on the minimum. And he's even a player available still in 75% of fantasy leagues. So you could just go out there and pick him up or trade for him in a minor deal, because I think he does the intangibles. He's going to help you in field goal percentage. He's going to rebound the basketball. He's going to block shots, and he's even adding about that 3-pointer a game now here for the Piston team. So Isaiah Stewart, he's definitely a buy low candidate. The second center is Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. So Boucher, he was off to an amazing start early in the season, and he also got that contract extension from the Raptors in the offseason. On the season, he's ranked 57th in fantasy basketball, 13.3 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.9 blocks, 1.5 threes a game, 76% from the foul line, and 52% from the field for Boucher. In the last couple weeks, so the numbers, they've dramatically dropped. 8.3 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.8 blocks, 81% from the foul line, and a mediocre 42% from the field. So him and Nick Nurse haven't seen eye to eye, and he's kind of in the doghouse here, is Boucher. For some reason, they want to play him big minutes, but then Nurse don't think he's ready, or whatever the deal is. But right now, Boucher, on the last couple games, he's been up and down. March 28th versus Portland, only 24 minutes, 18 points, 11 rebounds, a block, and 2 threes. March 29th at Detroit, 18 minutes again, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks. And then last night at OKC, only 19 minutes, but he had a decent game for the 19-minute span. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 threes. So Boucher, he's going to block shots, he's going to get some rebounds, and he's a guy that can hit threes, but for whatever reason, he's in the doghouse right now, and he's playing a minimum. If this guy played 30, 35 minutes a game, he would have big numbers, but that's just not the case the last couple weeks here for him and the Toronto Raptors. So hopefully he gets back on track. But right now, while his value's at the lowest it's been all season, where before, early in the season, he was a, sell high guy, but now he's a buy low guy, because his value's just never been in the middle. It's been either super high or super low, and right now it's at the low, and I would go out there and try to buy him, because we've seen some big games out of him this season. The next play is Robert Williams of the Boston Celtics. So Williams here, he's on the protocol and health concern list, and Williams, he's a player that I got big expectations for now, that they traded away Daniel Tyson. Tristan Thompson, he's just been injured on and off most of the season, where the Celtics can't rely on him. So on the season, he's ranked 64 in fantasy basketball as Robert Williams. 7.7 points a game, 6.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 2 blocks a game, 64% from the foul line, and 71% from the field in the last 2 weeks since his role has expanded. 8.9 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 2.4 blocks, 66% from the foul line, and 66% from the field. So Robert Williams, he's more of a traditional big man as well, like Isaiah Stewart. He's not going to shoot the three ball really. He's more of a putback and a physical player down low who's going to get rebounds and block shots. And the last 3 games before he went out on the COVID list, March 26th in Milwaukee, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals and 5 blocks. March 27th at OKC, 9 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. March 29th versus the Pelicans, 7 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks. So this player, he's getting block shots, he's getting rebounds, and he's making plays right now here for this Boston Celtic team. And now he'll probably be out a week or 2, and this is the time to get him, because once this guy plays major minutes, he's going to be a walking double-double, I believe, with 2 or 3 blocks a game, and he's even assisting the ball at a good rate, and right now it's the time to buy him low. The next one is James Wiseman of the Golden State Warriors. So Wiseman, it's been a weird type of rookie year for him. He was out for 4 weeks with a wrist injury, and then he was on the protocol list for a week here, but he's been back now. The last couple games here for this Golden State Warrior team is Wiseman. So Wiseman on the season, he's ranked 258, 11.8 points a game, 6 rebounds, 1 block a game, 63% from the foul line, and 52% from the field. And in the last couple weeks since he returned, 12 points a game, 6 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, and 55% from the field. So Wiseman, he's the youngest player in the NBA, I believe, this season. And he was the second pick for a reason in the NBA draft. I know he's still raw, but this guy's got a lot of talent here, is James Wiseman. And since the return, March 23rd versus Philly, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. March 25th at Sacramento, 6 points, 8 rebounds. March 26th versus Atlanta, 18 points, 5 rebounds, a steal. And March 29th versus Chicago, 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 blocks. So Wiseman, he's a very athletic big man. He's going to rebound the ball with a decent pace. And there's games where he's going to score in the upper teens to low 20s. So Wiseman right now, he still hasn't had that patented breakout couple weeks. And right now, I think towards the end of the season, we're going to see more playing time for Wiseman. And we're going to see bigger games from him. So right now, while his value is at the middle of value, he's a player I would go out there and try to buy low at the center position. And you don't have to give... And the 5th and final center I would look to buy low or trade for this week's Brook Lopez, the Milwaukee Bucks. So Brook Lopez on the season, he's been pretty decent for this Buck team. But this Buck team, they got so many good players on this roster where it's going to be tough for Lopez to be consistent, but he's still a guy that plays pretty much every game. He's still pretty productive in fantasy basketball, and he's a guy I would go out there and get him. You got to break the bank for him. On the season, he's ranked 104 in fantasy basketball, 11 points a game, 5.1 rebounds, 1.4 blocks, 1.4 threes a game, 83% from the foul line, and 46% from the field in the last couple weeks here for Lopez. 10.7 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.1 steals, 1.1 blocks a game, 93% from the foul line, and 44% from the field. So Brook Lopez, like I said, it's been up and downs with him, but he plays pretty much every game, like I mentioned, and he's playing anywhere from 23 to 30 minutes per game for this Milwaukee Buck team. And the last 3 games for Lopez, March 27th versus the Knicks, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 steals, 2 blocks. March 29th at the Clippers, 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 blocks, a 3. And March 31st at the Lakers, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks. Are pretty good numbers here for Lopez. And he's a guy that could get the job done and help your fantasy team in different categories. He gets rebounds. His scoring, I know, is not going to be the highest, but everything else he's helping. And he's even had some big game stealing the basketball. And you don't got to break the bank for him. So that's a few centers I would look to try to trade for before the trade deadlines end here in fantasy basketball in Week 14.